going to start
Oh
recording.
my God, I love this so much.
Yeah, you look great too, by the way. All right. So I am obviously going to get into character now because that's how I do, right? Right?
Yeah,
I almost
yeah,
called you
okay.
Kat. All right. So
Here we go.
there we go.
All
Three.
right.
It's 11:46. There's the clock, and we're in. All right. Welcome once again back behind the keys with Jack. Today I get to interview one of my good friends in the industry. We became really close friends too because we have some mutual friends. And on top of that, she's really delivered a wonderful event experience with her clients. She introduced me to her world with all of her amazing clients, I would say, and really kind of set the bar pretty high in the event planning world. She is a mother of 7 children.
Stop it. Stop it immediately.
You can hear by her voice. And no, she's a happily married woman, family of 4, right?
Family of 4.
Family of 4
Well,
girls.
No, 3 girls, 1 boy. How long have you known me?
Gee, I'm sorry. It's been a minute. Anyway, so yes, Reveled Events has been in the business for quite some time. But before I go into that so much, I do want to introduce Miss Yasemin. So Yasemin, hi,
Jack.
welcome to Behind the
Hi.
Keys with Jack.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
I feel honored.
Yes, you can look over here if you like.
I don't know where
All
to
right.
look because your screen is right there and I like looking there. Okay.
Okay, well, don't be nervous.
distracting.
You can look over here,
Hi,
or
Jack.
just look anywhere you want because we have cameras everywhere, right?
Okay.
So, Yasemin,
Yes.
can you just share with our listeners and viewers who you are, what you're about, Rebel
Yeah.
Events? Go.
Sure. We can be here forever, but I'll try to make it short here.
Great, let's move on to the next question.
So I came into the industry, I would say about 8 or 9 or 10 years ago. I can't even remember anymore. But my whole life started with, I was supposed to be a lawyer, Jack. I actually don't know if you know that.
No, I
was
didn't know.
en route to be a lawyer. And then I was doing my own wedding and I thought everything was great. And then the day of the wedding, everything went wrong. So in my drunken state, I said, hey, what if I do this for a living so no other bride has to deal with what I dealt with?
Mm-hmm.
So then I was living in DC, obviously wanted to be a lawyer and stuff. But anyway, somebody actually scouted me out and just said, you would be so great in the wedding world. So I actually got my first job at a hotel in DC that does primarily weddings. And then I just kind of worked my way up from there. I moved here to Jersey. I started working and doing events in the Starwood hotels in the city.
Yes. Familiar with the Starwood.
I'm glad you are. They were acquired by Marriott now. But anyway, then I started having kids and it was a lot. And I ended up being a stay-at-home mom for a few years. Realized love my kids to death. They're amazing. But I decided, you know what? Actually, it wasn't even me. I was going to go back into the world and Salim, my husband, he was the one that said, I think you should start your own company. And to me, that seemed very overwhelming. Because
What
at
year
this
was
point,
this?
This was 2000. The conversation started in 2017 towards the end. And at that point I had a baby and I was like, oh my God, that sounds like having a whole nother baby. I'm like, that just is not what I wanted to do. But he convinced me. We did the pros and cons. And then I did it. It was scary. I met a lot of scary people, including you,
course.
Jack.
Yes, yes. I'm the best fear. that you're gonna
Yes. And I said, oh my God, I don't know if this is what I want to do. But, you know, Salim, who's my biggest supporter, was like, I've never seen you give up before. So he's like, I can't believe you're going to even give up before you actually started. So I kept going, I kept pushing and whatever. And I think people just needed to know who I was as a person, not just the surface of who I was. And I think that's where, you know, there's a lot of politics in this industry. And it's funny because a lot of my couples that I do day of coordination for, they'll say, oh my God, like planning my wedding, meeting all kinds of people. It's scary. I was like, it is. You're right. And anyway, so I think like through the years, honestly, I know this is going to sound somewhat cheesy, but I think through the years and hard work and just not giving up and just keep going and making those relationships and all of that good stuff is what brought me here today.
Great. You know, I was not.
You know, I keep staring there. I can't help it
I
because your
know.
screen is so like, it's fun to watch. And I keep trying to look at you, but then I'm looking here.
I was never recording this, by the way. I just
Okay,
wanted
good.
to hear. No, just
You're
kidding.
such an idiot.
I was recording you, and I'm scratching my head. I'm like, let's go back into what you said,
Okay.
though. There was a drunk moment. Like, how often do you drink?
Not often.
Is it a requirement?
I'm a holy person. What do you mean, Jack?
Is it a requirement? You know, when you go through your whole interview process to hire the next candidate to work for Reveled Events. Is that part of the requirement? Like, how many bottles of wine do they have to scarf down in 1 week?
Well, if they tell me they're sober, it does make me question life. No, I'm just kidding. You're a goofball. No. I mean, I'm going to say I'm pretty sure almost all of us started drinking during the pandemic. Some of us never stopped.
Yeah, I mean,
Not saying that's me.
that's an excuse you use every day.
I know. It all started from the pandemic.
You haven't worked since the pandemic, and you started in 2017. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right, so 2017 you started. All right.
No, so technically I didn't start 2017. I was building it behind the scenes, but I would say everything kind of went live, like my Instagram, my everything. I would say September 2018.
2018.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So September 2018, you had to give up your corporate world.
Oh, well, technically I had to give yes and no. So I was a stay-at-home mom at that point because I gave up corporate world a few years before then to raise my 4 children. And then I realized
there's not like 5 or 7. I could have
there,
counted.
honestly, if you come to my house,
thought it was
there's
a whole Brady
always
bunch.
kids there, always. So you never know. But anyway, yeah, I gave up the mom life.
You lose your kids on like the West Wing of their house.
I
right?
do, the West Wing.
The
Yes.
West Wing
You've
of the
actually
house.
been to my house, so that's funny that you say that.
Yeah, you have no cell phone service there. You have your own app.
Listen,
to go,
fool,
the
I
East
live
Wing
in
is where-
Montville. There's really good service there.
Yeah, all right. So let's go back into like right before you started.
Okay.
All right. Kind of important because there's a lot of girls or even guys are really into this whole planning business, and it's not easy. You had to have some fear. You had some.
I had a lot of fear.
You know, you had some. You were scared, and you're kind of questioning: is this the right move? But you know, you're also excited because you know this is it's gonna happen. What did you do to really, I guess, really kind of psych yourself out? Like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. And then, of course, the fear kicked in. What also told you, like, not to do this, but, you know.
You're making me go way back. I'm going into that psyche right now.
We're going back into 1904 when Yasemin was born.
So, yes, no, the fear was real. There was
What was the fear? Let's go there. What was the fear?
Social media.
Telling you social media. All right.
Social media was a big fear for me because I hate social media. And when I say I hate it, what I mean is I used Instagram for like my Instagram's private, like my own page is private. I have my kids there. I do like little dumb stuff, like my family stuff in there. So I didn't realize what the world had become with social media. So I was like, wow, this has to be like a work thing. So that was really hard for me because prior to that, when I was in corporate world, when I was in Starwood, that was like 2013 or 14. Now I can't remember, but social media wasn't a thing back then. It just wasn't. Like we all had our personal pages.
Do you still have your MySpace by chance?
Actually, I never had MySpace. No. I started with Facebook, actually.
Are you sure about that?
I was the only one out of my friends that didn't have MySpace.
Who's your top 8 on your MySpace? Is it George Washington and Abe Lincoln?
You know what's funny is that you're older than me. Like let's let everyone know that from the beginning.
Let's just gonna cut her mic out right now. So.
Yeah. So actually, I love that we're friends because you are the oldest one in our group, and it's not me. But anyway, so the fear was real, and to be honest, my oldest daughter at the time, I think she was like 9, maybe. I don't remember. I just remember she looked at me like she was so impressed by what I was doing. And I think it was her that really was like, okay, I'm going to show this girl, you know, you can succeed in this world. And honestly, I come from a culture where it is, I don't want to say because we are in 2023 now, but it is sometimes hard for women to succeed. It is sometimes hard because they don't have the support sometimes from their spouses and all of that good stuff, right? So like they end up falling into I will always say the hardest job, which is the mom role. But there's so many people that want to be outside of that. They don't know the first steps because they don't have the support. I was blessed. I had my husband. He supported me without a doubt. I mean, when we met.
Shout out to Salim.
Shout out to Salim for sure. Because honestly, without him, none of this would have happened. He pushed me. Even when I was down, I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I don't even want to do it. He was like, no, you stupid. You're going to do it. I'm sure now he regrets everything.
Yeah. Just kidding. I also regret meeting you. So.
Yeah, me too. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was a mix of, I wanted to show my girls. I have 3 of them, as you mentioned. And they're so, like, seeing them now, like, they're just so proud. And it makes me so happy, you know? So I had to pass that fear. I had to move past that fear.
But there was that fear where you thought, even maybe recently, you thought, like, maybe this is not your career, or you just want to give it up.
I think we all kind of think that at some point when things do get really tough and overwhelming, you're like, you contemplate everything in your life. You're like, what am I doing with my life? I mean, I go through those motions all the time. And, you know, I complain to you all the time too. So, but at the end,
I'm billing you for all
I know,
the complaining.
It's okay. I'm billing you for listening. But I think through it all, you just kind of have to go back and just say, why did I do this from the beginning? You have to just kind of sit down, reevaluate, and go back to the beginning. Why did I start this? Why did I do this? And sometimes it's me where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I do bite off more than I can chew. So let me reevaluate that. Maybe I have to say, no, I can't take your, you know, sometimes brides come like, I need your help. I need your help. I'm like, okay, I'm going to help you. Meanwhile, I should be saying, no, I can't do it right now. Like, we're at our max capacity. That's something I always have struggled with, but I've been working on because I do want to have a peace of mind. I did do this. I started this. So I knew if I went back to corporate America, I would never be home. So it's like that saying, I quit. Why did I quit my 9 to 5 to work 24 hours? It's a special kind of mental illness. And it's true. And so, you know, I'm hiring great team members, and you're only as good as the people that work with you, you know, and I've been through the rough part of it, and I've come through on the other side with help with people like yourself, Jack. And yeah, I mean, I'm just now kind of just building people that I trust so I could keep going on what I'm doing, what I love.
Yeah. Can I ask you why? Who are you talking to? Because, like, I'm right over here.
I know, it's yours. So turn off your screen. I'm fascinated. There's brides on here. There's you building your structures.
Yes.
There's happy.
All right, I'm gonna
I think
turn
I
off
have
the
ADD.
screen. I'm gonna turn off the screen.
Okay, where am I gonna look? Here?
You're gonna look at me.
Okay,
Hold
I'm
on.
sorry. Okay.
It's still recorded, so you can keep talking shit.
It's so distracting.
I'm wondering who else she's talking to. It's like... All right.
Oh my God, it's off. Now what do I? Now I have to look at
Now
you.
you have to admire me. Yes.
Okay.
All right, now we're
That
back.
was such a. Okay, fine.
Okay,
Here we go. Here we
now
go.
we're going. Oh shit, I didn't record this. But anyway, no, just kidding. All right, we're still recording. Good. All right.
Good.
No, this is a great story. Not
Yeah.
really, but whatever.
Yes, it is. I'm seeing you get teary-eyed.
Yeah, I do. You know what? I get teary-eyed.
I know you do. I never realized how emotional you were.
You know what? It's just kind of like one of my things. As a owner,
Yeah.
as just an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you got to be tough 24/7 or 24/6. Let's just say, because there's one day where I feel like that I am a little bit emotional, you know, and you
Yeah.
got to catch me on the right side. But I'm very emotional with my couples. I
think we all are. I think that's why we all started our companies, right? Because we connect with them in a different level. I think a lot of us, I didn't wake up one day, you know, like I realized on a personal level how I want to make people happy, because I remember how unhappy I was at my wedding. You would never be able to tell, by the way, because I'm not that bride. Like, I will make
Where
the
did you
best
get
of
married?
it. In DC.
In DC. Okay, what park? What street?
So I don't know how it is. I don't know how it is today, but I got married in 2004, so that was a long time ago. So back then, I don't even think a lot of people realize this. I don't even know if you realize this, but New Jersey is the state that has the most amount of wedding venues in the entire country. I don't know if you know that. So I grew up in New Jersey, and I just thought that was the norm. So when I left New Jersey, I was like, where do people get married? Like, where do people go? And when I was I thought, like, not even, because that wasn't a thing back then. And everyone got married in hotels. I don't know if you knew that. So it was,
that's how
hotels is
LA
a big
is.
thing.
That's how the West Coast is.
So I was surprised, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that was that. It was fine. I mean, I loved my wedding because I got the marriage. Maybe not the wedding, but hey, I got the marriage. So, and it's funny because Salim, when he read my website, he came over to me, he goes, you hated our wedding? Because I wrote that on my website. This is how I started. He's like, when did you hate our wedding? I'm like, Salim, I've told you this.
Well, what did you hate about your wedding? Like that really, just one thing, because I know you can keep talking, but like one thing that really
You're so annoying.
to this day annoyed you, or just like, you know, you wish you could take back?
My photographer.
Yeah.
I hated him more than anything in the world. He didn't know how to take pictures.
Okay.
He didn't pose any of us.
Obviously, it's a guy. All right.
It's a guy. He didn't pose any of us. My maid of honor did.
Were you guys late? Were you guys running behind or anything like that?
Not really, because I'm a very let's go
Not
kind of a
really.
person.
Okay.
By nature, I'm a planner, so we figured that out.
Okay.
But so I'd be like, come on, guys, time to go. Yeah, I come from Middle Eastern culture. No one's on time, but I'm on time. So they would be like, calm down. Like, no, it's 3:00. We gotta take our pictures. Let's go. And they're like, you are a psychotic bride.
So with that being said, I
Yeah.
mean, what do you say to brides, like now with your planning process? how are you filtering like the right recommended photographers for these brides?
I'll be
Because,
honest.
you know, that was a terrible experience,
It
right?
was.
So what do you now what are the questions you ask these photographers that are now being interviewed by your clients?
So I'm going to actually start off by saying I'm going to throw my in-laws under the bus for a minute. I booked all of my vendors on my own. You have to remember, I was working full time, going to school full time, and planning this wedding that's in another city. I left my in-laws the job of getting the photographer. And that was the one vendor that really effed up bad. So I'll be honest, it was trial and error. Finding vendors to connect with while I was building this company, there was a lot of trial and error. There's vendors that I worked with that now I don't work with because I'm like, you're representing me at the end of the day. And if you're going to be difficult to work with or whatever, I can't work with you because guess what? You're not really going to get in trouble. You will to a certain extent, but it's going to be me that's going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was trial and error. And thankfully today, all the vendors that are on my list, like sometimes clients who ask me, why do you have a limited list? I'm like, listen, I will work with whoever you want. But I was like, but these are the people that I do trust, that I know I can close my eyes and everything will be beautiful.
Now, when you plan with your clients here, you plan just with the brides or you plan with the grooms? I mean,
Both.
how is it? You
Depends
plan
who
with both of
wants to
them?
be involved.
Okay.
So
then how's that process if, you know, let's just say I wanted to get married and I sat down with you. What is like the first things, what are the first things you say to a couple that
like
is
once they've
exploring
signed with
options?
me?
Yeah, we have a date.
Okay.
We have a venue, you know, and I don't know, what's my first move? What are my first steps to planning? What
So
do you
the
say?
very first thing we do is we set up a phone call or a Zoom meeting with them or an in-person, whatever they prefer.
Do you need to speak English?
We do. My ESL's kicking and leave me alone. We do something called an onboarding budgeting meeting. The very first thing that's very important is I have to budget you.
Okay.
I need to understand because I work with different level of vendors with different price points. So when I budget them, like a lot of people don't know what a wedding costs today, right? So they'll say, I don't know what I'm supposed to send. If they say that, then I'm going to go through a vision of what they picture their wedding like. Then I'm going to say, okay, listen, here's the type of places you're trying to get married in. Here's the level of looks you're trying to go for. I am telling you, you're going to be at a minimum of this amount. Sometimes I'm like, what? That's impossible. And it's funny because I always joke around with them. I'm like, listen, I know that number seems impossible, but think about it like this, right? It's not like let's say it's $130,000 budget, right? They'll be like, where am I going to find that money? And I'm always saying to them, no one's asking you for $130,000 on the spot.
Right.
It comes in little increments, and the next thing you know, you just spend $130,000. And I'm like, I'm not saying that's a great thing. I'm just saying like that's the way the world works, right? I just did an Eid party. Salim gave me a budget.
Ecstasy party.
Eid.
Oh, Eid.
The celebration
sorry.
Eid.
I thought
That reminds me, you never said Happy Eid to me. I'm letting everyone know here. Jack did not say Happy Eid, but I always tell him Merry Christmas.
Happy Eats. Eats?
E-I-D.
E-I-D?
This is 2023. You should really know what Eid is.
Does it come on my TikTok? I don't know. I didn't follow it, so I don't know
Oh
what that
my
is.
God.
So.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. All right. Well, happy Eid.
Okay, anyway.
Happy Eid.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I just lost my train of thought.
Great. That's a great thought right now. But let's
saying?
let's
budgeting. So we do budgeting, and then they have access to my portal, which is so much more cuter than yours. By the way, it's really fun and colorful.
Okay,
and pretty.
we'll talk about portals.
We'll talk about portals. So no, we don't want to talk about portals. So anyway, once we do that, then I have their budget. The very first thing I like to do is get their venues in order, because once you have your venue, that's 60% of the job. 60% of your budget actually as well. And everyone just feels a lot better. Like, okay, I got my date. Once we have the date, I give them a list of, once I understand the vibe that they're trying to go for, like let's say DJs, for example, or bands, they give me the vibe of what they picture their wedding like. So if they say, I want it to be like crazy and wild, and I'm like, LJ DJs might be good for you here, and I make sure that it's aligned with their budget, your pricing. So I send them like the Instagram profiles for them to take a look at. Then they'll tell me their top 3, and I set up Zoom calls with them so they can have the meetings. You've been through this with me many times. And then, and it's just me kind of going through the motions of all the vendors. But in order, I normally do venue, venue, probably photography, entertainment, because these are the people that get booked the quickest.
Why would you say entertainment to be like your third choice?
Well, I can't book you if they don't have a venue.
Well, I mean, let's just say it's venue already, the date venue.
And then why not you next?
Why not DJs first? Like
from
as a first
what
vendor?
I've seen, a lot of times we do a lot of we go through a lot of hiccups where photographers I've noticed get booked the quickest more than any other vendor.
True.
So I need that out of my way. So I don't want to be in a position where I can't find a photographer, or the type of photographer he wanted.
Right.
So I get that out of the way. The second that I found that gets booked the quickest is entertainment. And that's, so forth and so on. Like when I do design with the clients, if that's what they hired me for, florals are a little bit easier because they can take multiple events a day.
Yeah.
If they needed to, right? So it's a little easier. Hotels, that's easy. Transportation, it's fine. Invitations, again, all the other ones we can work through. It's always been venue, entertainment, photography.
Venue, entertainment, photography. Okay, yeah. Because I did see this. It's not like a trend, but I've noticed like every time we sit down with couples, they're always telling us like, these are the two things I want the most.
Yeah.
Dancing and food. Or
Yeah.
food and dancing.
This is true.
That's
Same.
kind of like the common.
That's usually the guys, by the way.
Well, it is. I speak on my end
Say
here,
it.
so just saying. All right. Well, I mean, also, I want to kind of go into a little more of the planning process here.
What?
What's that? Oh,
That's a
there's
truck.
a truck outside.
That's a truck.
All right. I should have pulled my curtains.
You look like my cat for a second.
I was like, it came in pretty hot. That's why. I looked like your cat.
You did.
It's a cute one, too.
Okay.
All right. So let's go into all right, everything is booked in there. What do you fear the most about live action right now? Like it's go time, everything is technically going on point, on time, photographer, DJs, everyone's there. What if a guest gets a little rowdy? What are we expecting?
I think it depends.
How does Yasemin come in here to diffuse a rowdy crowd?
So are you asking me what's the fear of overall the wedding day, or what's my fear of the rowdy crowd?
Well, I guess we
Both?
let's go into what do you fear the most about a wedding from your previous experience that you seem to diffuse a lot?
So it depends what type of client I have. So if they book me for a day of coordination, my biggest fear will be the vendors I work with because I don't know who they're working with. Now, keep in mind, when they do day of coordination, I think a lot of people need to understand day of coordination is literally not a day of coordination. That's why I changed the wording to event management, because we get involved about a couple months prior and we get involved with all the vendors and we introduce ourselves and we're like, just let us know what you need. And when I do my timeline that you love so dearly, I go through that with all the vendors. Now, some of them I've worked with before, some of them I don't know. So you don't, and the thing is, wedding planners do unfortunately have a bad reputation in the industry because we're known to just kind of take over and not let people do their jobs. And I get that. I do, because I've worked on the other end of the spectrum. I've worked on the venue side before, and I get how that is. Now I'm kind of going a little off tangent, but just to kind of touch up on that, I know how vendors feel when they're like, oh God, a wedding planner, like Jesus. I'm very much, and I teach my team to respect everyone's job. I'm like, everyone is an adult here. Everyone is getting paid to do their job by the client. My job is not to babysit any of you guys. That's the bottom line. And so that's that. So I'm very much like, I get you guys. I'm not here to babysit you. I tell the venues, I'm like, I'm here if you need me. And that's it. And so I think we built a very good reputation amongst vendors and lots of venues in this region that, okay, you guys are here, no problem. We like you. And that's where we want to keep it. However, I just want people to understand that we're not here to step on your toes. We're a team, bottom line. And the client hired us also. They paid us to do a service. So I just always want vendors that never worked with us before to just know, like, I am not trying to step on your toes at all. I'm here as your liaison.
You have a good circle of vendors
I
that you
do.
recommend.
I do.
How many photographers do you recommend? How many videographers? How many one DJs do you recommend?
I would say with photography, maybe about 15 good ones.
15 photographers?
15 photographers.
That seems a lot.
About 10 videographers.
Jeez.
Because you have to remember something. Everyone has a different budget. So even
That
if I
seems
love
to be
you,
a little
even if I love you,
outrageous.
this person might not be able to afford you. So Jack, if I came over to you, you just said your services are somewhere between 3,000, 4,000, something
Yes.
like, depending on what they take,
Yes.
right? What if I have a client that says to me, you know how I roll with you. Like, we have a
Yeah.
good friendship. So like, but what if they say, I can't spend a penny over 2,000, right? I'll still reach out to you guys and say, I know it's not within your parameters, but what if it's high season and you're like, I can't do it. I need other DJs that work in that parameter. Otherwise, what am I doing for my clients? You know what I mean? We close the door and say, I can't work with you. Now, keep in mind,
shift the budget a little bit to this way.
I get, and I do. Funny you say that because I do. Because when I do budgeting, I ask them what's the most important to them.
Yeah.
So if entertainment falls in the higher parameter, I put more of the money there. So I do that for them. But if it's not on their high list, let's say the bride's like, listen, flowers is everything. I need flowers. I need to put as much money into flowers as I can. So my florists don't yell at me.
How many florists do you recommend? Yes, go on.
Florist is a tricky thing.
Yes.
Because I do design services, which means that the client only has to deal with me. They never have to deal with the florist. I design out the look for them, and then I pitch it to these florists. There's been a lot through the years, a lot of weeding out with florists.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that...
This is a long answer.
I just think...
Usually it's just a number.
I don't know why you're with numbers, man. It's such a guy thing. I'm just saying, like, I think that some florists don't necessarily love working with event designers because they are themselves as well, some of them. So it's like stepping on toes.
You're dealing with like artistry. You're dealing with like,
Correct.
Design
Correct.
talent. It's like
exactly.
It's a vision,
I have my top 3 to answer your question.
3, okay.
I have my top 3.
How many DJs do you recommend?
Don't look at me like that.
I just need a number. I don't want to hear your story.
I would say about top 5.
Great. Okay. So this conversation ends real soon. Thanks for joining us. No. All right. So you recommend 5. That's good. That's good to know. Anyways. All right. So I had a question for that was kind of, it was cool. Let me think this through. What was I going to say? Oh yes. Portal. We were talking about your portal. All right.
Your favorite thing.
Yeah. This is a common thing that I
timelines and portals.
I talk to a lot of planners about this because we have 2 different types of timing when it comes to signing a contract. And most importantly, what we said in the beginning, it's like, it's relevancy with what we do as a DJ and as a planner, So before I ask the question, is I know brides are watching us every weekend, crushing events, and they're getting inspired. They're getting excited, and they're reaching out through us through DM, through text, through email. Catherine is taking care of emails and all that stuff, and we're painting the picture until we finally get to meet them. Well, we have a system because obviously our clients, they want to dance, they want to party. Obviously, they have their vision.
Right.
We have our own system of planning when it comes to just the dance floor.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Why is it, this is the question I have for you, Miss Planner, why do planners have to get involved with just formality-wise when I feel like it has nothing to do with the planning part? It's the DJ or the MC, any DJ, any MC.
Right.
It's their responsibility
right.
to execute formalities, introductions, and all that stuff. But why does a planner have to get involved where it could cause some conflicts?
Okay, so I can't speak for all planners, but I can speak for myself.
In general.
So.
And same thing here. I'm just speaking in general too.
Right. So for me, it depends. And I think you and I have tried to have this conversation before. Now, scenario number 1. If I'm bringing you a client, I tell them to, because at the end of the day, they're still signing a contract with you, right? But I want them to fill out your portal so there is no issues because, again, the contract is between you guys, right? There are planners that you contract directly with the planners. That's a whole different ballgame, which I'm not going to get into right now. But with us, we have the contract directly with you guys. However,
pause.
Okay. Jack left, guys. This is a time for me to talk about Jack. Jack, can I talk about you? Planners are the best, you guys. Now that Jack's in here, bottom line is planners are the best. They will make your life so much easier. Jack knows this. He has a hard time accepting it. Oh, and he's back.
You're talking shit. I know this. Go on.
Never.
Go on.
So, if I brought you the client,
yes,
at the end of the day, you know that sometimes they won't fill out your portal.
1,000%. I agree.
You and me, I can't speak to you and another planner, but you and me already built I know you, you know me, you know how I work, I know how you work, right? So like if they don't fill out your portal, because they're looking at me like, no, I don't care. Like, you handle it. You handle it. In reality, I'd love to fill out the portal on their behalf. I don't have the time to do it. But, I don't put you in a situation where, like, I'm going to screw you, because I will have those formalities. Why do I have those formalities? Very simple reason. When I did a day of coordination event back in 2018, actually, remember, I don't know the DJ. And she looked at me. She went to go do her father-daughter dance. And this is before I used to take formality songs. She did her father-daughter dance. She looked at me with this look on her face. And I'm like, what's happening? Why is she looking at me like that? And I look at the DJ. And you know me, I don't know anything about songs or anything, names of songs. So I went to the DJ. Why is she looking at me like that? So I knew the song that she had picked because we talked about it. And it stayed in my head.
So
and
this
I
is
looked.
clearly the $1,000 DJ we're talking about.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yes.
But
go on.
He played the wrong song, because she originally wanted a song, and I guess they changed it. And she said she told him. And I knew her by his face that she did tell him. He just forgot. So I was like, rewind. So he made the best of it. And he went, he did that thing with the thing. He's like, just kidding. This is the new song. And he made and everyone laughed about it.
Yeah.
But that traumatized me.
Oh, yeah.
So
But I agree, though, with one thing, though, because if the client is coming from a planner.
Yeah.
I think all guards are down because the planner technically painted the picture of who this performer is, who this DJ is, who this band is, who this florist is.
Yes.
So rightfully, I think the planner should be involved with that process too.
Correct.
I don't disagree on anything like that, because you clearly already designed the whole flow. They fell in love with you. So any vendor should be complimenting, that referral.
Correct. You're talking about if you already booked these clients and a planner comes in, correct?
Yes, that's kind of in a way where they booked us separately.
Correct.
So that means when it's separate, my foundation is with LJ. Well, my foundation is with my contract, my portal. So guess what?
Correct. I agree with that, by the way, and I've told you this.
Yeah.
And that's how all planners should be, to be honest.
I hope so.
Because
I didn't have that experience the last few weeks, though. I'll tell you that.
That's a problem.
There's a lot.
And I'm going to get into that right after this. I answer that part.
Right after this commercial break.
Right after this commercial break. No, but I want to talk to you about that, so don't let me forget.
Okay.
But if a client came to me and goes, oh my God, I have LJ DJs, I have my venue, blah, blah, blah. I need you to help me with florals and yada, yada, whatever, or partial planning. But now I know they booked you already. Great. Mm-hmm. I'm not painting a picture of what the music is going to look like. I'm not involved. I don't want to be involved. And I tell them, I'm like, I already know LJ DJs. He's going to create this amazing thing for you. Just don't forget to fill out your portal. I always say, I'm traumatized, fill out your portal. So even towards the end, I'm like, did you fill out their portal? So yeah, but we told you the songs, but you need to fill out the portal because you were involved before I was involved. So I need you to fill out the portal. And I always make it clear, I'm like, for me to take down the songs, I'm just a second set of eyes and ears. And I only take it with, let's say, God forbid in this world, something happens. And God forbid your DJ gets into a car accident. He's no longer coming. I got to find a DJ. He's going to say, what are the formality songs? I don't ever want to be in a situation. I don't know. Do you think I want to come to you and ask you the questions?
I love that. That's
right. So
that's
I just need a
answer.
Backup. That's it.
It's a great answer.
Right.
What you said was amazing because there is your insurance.
That's my
your
insurance. This is what they hired me for, is to be their insurance and make sure nothing goes wrong. And if things go wrong, I'm fixing it. Do the portal.
Do the portal. Yes.
Do the portal.
Do the portal, or at least tell the client to give you access to the portal. And again, every other vendor works the same way because there's always this mishap that could happen.
Correct.
But I had a few incidents and
that sucks. And that's why we get bad reputations.
These new planners are coming in and it's like they're a little too much. They're just a little too much and they don't really know their roles. I get it. They're excited. They want to put a
show
name
the
out
client
there.
this is what I'm doing. This is what I got
anything,
you.
And so I had a really bad experience, and of course I have that face where I'm like
I know.
Can you show me how my reaction is when we work, when I know you let me have my time like that,
just like that.
All right.
Right before you even get on Zoom calls. I'm like, okay, the client's gonna get on, and you're like, why are you on this call? Hi.
Great. I guess that's my reputation.
Face.
Yeah.
That's your face.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I had moments, I think, where we were doing like a video wall job where, this was not with you, but there was like another planner. They didn't understand the system. Every couple had a photo.
I think that was me.
Was it with you?
I think it was me. And and that wedding traumatized me. But I was going to say something to you about that. I said, don't forget.
Okay. Good.
So by the way, I'm going to say this till the day I die. I remember, let's call her Jessica. That's not her name, guys. That's the name that came to my head.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Jessica. Jessica called me because remember, she hired me only for a day of coordination,
Yes.
which means I'm like, you got to handle everything with, handle your business with your vendors. We're just coming in, again, insurance to make sure they do their job. You're going to tell us what you told them.
Yes.
So part of what we do is one-stop shop, right? Now they hired us.
Yes.
We'll take care of whatever issues that happen. The day before the wedding, if you remember, she called me.
Yeah.
And she was like, I need you to change blah, 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 blah. Can you tell Jack? And I was like, okay, no problem. So then I don't remember what it was, but I related to you. I was like, I'm just the messenger.
Yeah.
And I said, this is what she needs to do. And that was it. And then she changed that day when I remembered, this is how I want the entrances when we were doing the entrances, that's what it was. When I put it in my phone, I'm like, what did you and Jack talk about? How are the entrances? I just want to write it down on my own end. She's like, I don't know what me and Jack talked about. And I said, okay, that's fine. I was like, well, how do you want your entrances? I'll relate to Jack then. Maybe you guys didn't talk about it, but apparently you guys all had this whole thing. So she told me, she goes, this is how I want. I'm like, cool. And then I told you. You never told me that's not how it was. You told me after the fact, but I was like, dude, I didn't know. Yeah. She told me this is how I wanted the entrances. I gave it to you. Next thing I know, guys, Jack was so scary. I was like, bro, I didn't know. No one said anything to me.
We have 4 hours to
Right.
be consistent and to be on.
Right.
The first 30 minutes for any DJ, any MC, they really got to set the tone pretty
Yes.
high. So for me, we plan with my team in the back. We're walkied up.
Yeah.
And it's like if the names don't match up to a photo, we don't know who they are,
Yes.
So that's when
And I never knew there was a photo, by the way.
Right.
No, you didn't tell me, she didn't tell me.
Because it's it's a big production
Right,
when we do a
right.
video wall.
Right.
So a photo has to match to the name, and we
Correct.
don't know who the photo is. We
Yes.
just got to assume, and we do it based off of our portal. And,
Did that get messed up, the photos and the names?
I think we were able to fix it or find a way instantly. It was quick, because we also
Okay.
do a live simulcasting.
Yeah.
But we had this incident with another planner. I know maybe with you, but just they kind of messed this
remember, you
one
told
up.
me this.
It's like I lined them up according to what I had, and then as I
Correct.
left, they went behind me, and then they lined them up the way they had in their portal.
Right.
And it messed up the whole flow.
Yes.
So that was
All these stories, honestly, helped me better with my clients now, whether they're my full-on clients, my partial, it doesn't really matter.
to this day, I still have that 1-star review on my.
It was because of me?
No, it wasn't you. It was back. I think 2012. To be honest, it was just like there was twins.
Oh, man.
And I screwed up
man.
because the planner went behind me and she switched. All
See,
of
I
them
won't
on
do
me.
that. The thing is, I want all of my ducks in a row before wedding day. I don't want surprises on wedding day. I'd rather deal with different kinds of surprises that arise, not this kind of stuff. So we will help line them up. When we work with you, I tell my team, don't line nobody up. Don't line nobody up. Don't come near them. Don't do nothing. Let Jack do it.
Let me do it, yes.
But when I work with other DJs, they're like, oh, you lined them up. Great. Now I just get to talk to them. I'm like, we'll help you, So we're working. All my whole team members know, we're working with LJ DJs. Nobody go near them.
Well, that defines the value of the $1,000 DJ to $2,000 to $3,000.
No, stop it. These are good DJs as well. But I know how you are. I know how you like your method of everything. But when I especially work with day of coordination or partial clients, I'll say to them every single time, this thing, does Jack know? When we do a timeline meeting with you anyway.
Yes.
But I'm like, before that meeting, I don't want him yelling at
Jack.
me.
Now I feel like this is
Right.
therapy for
This
Jack.
is therapy for Jack. So I'm like, do they know? And like, yeah, we went through it with Jack, but I kind of forgot. No problem. If you forgot, no problem.
A lot of
We'll go through
DJs, I think a lot of DJs also forget that they are the face of their own brand, but also they got to set the tone for every vendor that they're working with, from photographers, videographers, even from the venue and planners, florists too. So when it comes to the tag, when you see the excitement, when you see all these photos being blasted online, that's a team effort. So they all have to work together. But if a lot of DJs lately, I could speak on a whole different type of podcast about DJs nowadays, but let's talk about the planners nowadays. All these new planners are coming out. What I want to ask you this: how do you kind of set the tone in your industry that Revel's here and you have a certain way of running this? The newbies coming in, be ready to open up or fight.
I think as eager as all the newbies are coming, we were all there. We were all newbies at one point, right?
Yes.
And I think what I learned most about running my own company is I know we're excited to make this client proud and happy, but in order to have proud and happy clients, you need to have a relationship with your vendors. Take the time, get to know vendors, take them to lunch, bring them coffee. You know how I operated back then.
Oh my goodness! You bring them coffee. You drink
No, but
wine.
I straight alcohol. I'm like, let's just get to
alcohol.
this. But no, but seriously, like, take the time to get to know, build your foundation of good vendors, because these are the people that are going to make you look good on a wedding day. That's the bottom line.
Okay. Well, now you're a working woman. Obviously, you're an entrepreneur, a fantastic and a very successful entrepreneur. Just give me an idea, like, what is your normal day? Like, you wake up in the morning, like, because there's, and on a serious note, I know it's definitely a lot. You know, you come back from rehab.
Telling me that, just reliving this morning alone was a lot.
No, it's where I'm coming at is that there's a lot of people who are inspired by you as a planner, and they have this dream to be a planner, but there's no formula for this. There's only two things that I always say. You got to build some tolerance.
Yep.
And you got to be consistent. Those are like my key words. But what is a normal day for a planner like you, who does it full time, who's married, who has 4 kids? Sorry, I keep confusing. I feel like you're like, a Brady Bunch here.
I am Brady Bunch.
What do you do to start your day?
Like, literally, you want to know what my typical day looks like?
I want to know every day, 7 days a week. You got to plan every weekend. So what is the normal starting? I
wake up 6:45, get my kids ready for school, wake them all up. Like, let's go. It's at the moment I wake up, it's let's go. That's my thing. All 14 kids, get them fed, get their lunches in order, get them out of the house, drop them off at school. I come back, I shower, put my clothes on, handle my next meeting. Okay? Handle my next meeting, which I usually like to start by. I like to not be discombobulated. So unless I have to, I like to start at 10 o'clock.
You look good too. Possible. What are you wearing, by the way?
Like, what am I wearing? What clothes?
What is this?
The design?
What is this? Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it Gucci? Is it Prada?
It's not. I actually don't dress that way.
You're the type of gal that likes that
No,
stuff.
I'm not.
Okay.
I like it, but I actually don't dress that way. If you must know, my favorite store, everybody, is Vici. It's an online store, VICI. You're welcome. You'll love it. It's amazing. Carrying on. So then I start and...
Do you do anything like, do you work out or anything like that?
Yeah. Yes. There's that. I work out 2 or 3 times a week. Then I start my day. And then it's just meetings after meetings. That is poor because I don't really eat.
You don't really eat?
I don't really eat. There's just not enough time in a day. I drink a lot of coffee, so for Ramadan it was very hard.
Yeah, you sound definitely like
I sound rough. I lost my voice, like, from yelling at my kids, yelling at everybody. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, and then, sometimes I try now, because this is the overwhelming part, right? Like when you said, what makes you want to give up? And it's things like where I can't find that balance, where I'm getting better at it. Like, my resolution for this year, I said, I need to find this balance. And I've been doing a way better job, where, guess what? My kids, I have 4 of them, as you mentioned. That means there's 4 after school activities.
Are they all yours?
They are all mine. Okay. They all have after school activities. Guess what? I don't want to be that mom who's taking a meeting at soccer.
So how do you do that? How do you delegate tasks at Reveled events? Like, because how many events do you
trust the people you hire?
You have to trust,
and that's
people.
Really hard.
Okay, we know that.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Noelle, because I do love her.
Noelle, shout out to you.
Noelle, you're awesome. She's taking care of all my meetings right now.
Right, but I mean, how do you? Tell me, how do you delegate the emails, the phone calls, the meetings, and working
it's your
with Nail?
Baby that you raised, right? Remember I said earlier on, I don't want to have another baby. This was another baby. Now you have to hand this baby to a stranger. How do you do that, right? So.
Now, as an owner, do you open the doors and you show them everything?
I just started. Even though it bit me on the ass very recently. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to move forward, if I'm going to have my company continue to grow, I have to take these kinds of risks. Otherwise, it's all going to fall on me 24/7 and I'm going to implode.
Yeah.
So I have to continue taking these risks, and I just have to have a better hiring process. I have to understand who these people are.
Did you change anything from your past experience? Did you change anything?
I did.
So how was the interviewing process with Noelle? Let's just give her this
Noelle
plug.
was already working with me.
Okay.
She was an assistant. So now she kind of, no one really knows yet, but she unofficially has taken over the lead planner position.
Wow.
She's official in August.
Well, someone like Noelle is a rare find too, because
Yeah, she is.
She's full of energy.
She is. You better.
I can brag about her
wild.
too. She's full of energy. She
She's
brings a lot of
sweet.
positivity. She's very easy to work with, which is great. And I'm
Yes.
only speaking from a DJ perspective, where
Yeah.
you allow us to be ourselves.
Yes.
And we're not.
But this is also the thing I drill into their head. I'm like, listen, I built this where the vendors love us. We're going to keep it at that. But Noelle also knows our relationship. So she knows who my close vendors are.
Yeah.
And so she knows, like, I'm like, Jack knows this thing. Just do not talk to him until his suit is on. Do not go near him. Just ask him if he needs anything. Like I over prep the staff because I want them to be amazing at what they do.
I feel like I'm like almost like a prima donna, but like seriously,
No, you are.
I just take on a lot.
I get it.
I take on a lot.
Honestly, I get it. I get it. Like, I remember one of my staff members was trying to ask you questions. I'm like, please don't. He's building stuff. Like, he's not going to go through songs with you right now. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And she kept going and she kept going. Like, I was like, I'm about to backhand you.
I remember that. I'm like picking up a 300-pound plate. And
Just, can we talk about songs? I'm like, oh my
yeah,
God, no.
Yeah, sure. Let me just talk about it while I'm hammering something. So
Right.
can we only got a few minutes left, but can you tell me one of the best weddings that you've hosted and just 2, maybe 3 great moments of that wedding that you can share with me?
I'm not going to talk about weddings specifically, like
Or it
names.
doesn't have to be a wedding. How about events or whatever?
The best events I've dealt with was the ones where I love the couples that come and go, I'm so busy. I don't want to do anything. This is my vision. This is my vibe. I want to show up that day and it's amazing. And those are the weddings that end up being the most amazing.
Well, just give me one.
How about Martinho? We did that one together.
That was pretty sick. That was last year. Exactly
that was
1 year
last
ago.
year, yeah.
Exactly a year ago.
She came to me and goes, Yasemin, what's up, girl? That was how our call went. I hope Martinia listens to this.
I hope so too, because she's a doll.
She's
Her
so
family was
funny. And
her mom was crazy.
Yeah, totally. They all were, and they were the best.
Yeah.
In the best way possible. But my first call with her, I will never forget it, because she was like, listen to me, child. Okay? I don't got time to plan this wedding. I just know I want a freaking amazing wedding. And I hope you got all the right vendors to make this happen. I was like so thrown off. I was like, oh my God, I love you.
You know what's great about that particular wedding is that there was no judgment at all.
It was awesome.
Every vendor that you had, you had Rima who did the florals, Premier Events by Rima.
Yep.
Fantastic job. You had a Shout did the whole flooring. He did
it was an amazing
the dance
vendor
floor
list.
and the ceremony. I remember that.
Yep.
You had Roxy. Reverend Roxy.
Yes, she was she was a reverend there.
She's a doll. She's amazing,
She's
and
so
she's
fun.
a big.
And she just had a baby,
Uh-huh.
like the day before.
Yeah,
and she showed up.
And she's a fashionista.
She is. She's awesome.
And she loves Disney. And
Lauren D'Amelio did her makeup.
Lauren. Okay, I did not know that. So shout out to Lauren. I think I'm going to try to get Lauren on this one. And then, of course, they had me. So that was cool. Jack. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember. Yes,
yeah,
it was.
You remember that?
But talking about Rima as well, just to kind of put that out there, one of the reasons that wedding was so successful is you talked about florists, and Rima, obviously, it's not a secret. She's my top florist. It's easy. I like to work with easy people.
Yeah.
Rima is a designer, right? Is she not? She's a designer. She can easily be like, step away. I want to design this. Instead, she's like, you make my life so much easier. You bring it to me. I don't got to deal with nothing. I'll just execute whatever you tell me.
Yeah.
And it's the best, and like, I know she's going to execute it the way I need it.
You're building some sort of like style, and you're actually kind of creating this whole new character as Revel continues to grow, because if a planner, if a florist or a vendor, if venue give you the reins and say, hey, Yasemin, take over, you're building this whole new, style of planning, which is great, because it's rare, and that's just kind of
because not all planners do design. Design was one of my passions. I went to school for it.
Not all DJs are MCs. Like not all DJs can bring calibers and shows like pianos and stuff like that, because they're very standard, and it's cool,
Yeah.
All good.
There's different types of services, and that's okay. Like, some people love the planning aspect of it, and that's great. But when they're just like the client, they don't like the design part.
Yeah.
I'll find your florist for you, and then you work directly with the florist. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
So now let me ask you this. Which one is can you share with me one of the worst wedding
No, because what if they're
experience?
listening?
Listen, you're not calling no names. Just
Okay,
they're
fine.
just one of the worst experiences, because let's be real. These bad experiences, these bad events that we did, or in general, we all do. Sometimes they're not all going to be great, but those bad experiences really are important because those are the keys to our success because we
Yes.
know not to go backwards on that end. But can you tell us one of the worst or horrible, I guess, experience you had at an event?
Yes, I was thinking about two in my head because I had two, and those two, I don't know which one is worse, so I'm just going to take one of them.
Okay.
One of them, she hired me for design.
It's a wedding?
Yes.
Okay.
She hired me for design. I worked with a florist, and no, she hired me. She already had a florist, and I always tell couples, if you already have a florist and I don't know them, I will do my best to get that vision across to them because they don't speak my language.
Right.
But I will do my best.
Yes.
She hired somebody. Her wedding was only 3 months away. Me, being a sucker,
You decided to take it.
I took it. And not only did I take it, excuse me, but,
You okay? 'Cause-
well, Jack, you're having coffee, water, and by the way, none of this was offered to me.
Here, hold on. Just making sure.
I'm half kidding.
Here's your water.
Thank you. I actually need to drink it.
Okay.
But because you're bringing trauma back up into my life. So,
Well, you got 2 minutes to talk about this trauma.
okay, so really quickly, she ended up firing her florist. I think you and I talked about
Yes,
this.
we did. I remember this.
She fired her florist, and I said, listen, I have a florist I could bring it to because my other florists aren't available. It wasn't even they were available. They couldn't afford them. So I said, I do have one, but she's very hit or miss, and I have to really be on top of her. I'm willing to take the risk, blah, 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 blah. I gave her all the risks that I knew. So we did a sample meeting. The sample was not good, but we worked it through with the florist. She finally got it perfect. We had the picture. The day of her wedding, it was a lot. There was a lot going. She was not that there is absolutely nothing wrong with a needy bride. Needy brides is what they need us for, right? So I expect it. But in the middle of all the craziness happening, because there was so many different locations, when I got to the reception, I looked at the flowers and I said, shit, this does not look like what we discussed. And I couldn't, my binder wasn't with me. And I said, this doesn't look like what she wanted. And I came to talk to the florist. She got very snippy. She yelled at me and she was like, can you just wait until I'm done with everything? Like, you're on top of me. And I was like, listen, it's fine. I'm like, I'm just saying, just something seems off. Do you have the sample picture? It's in my binder. I just don't have it on me. She goes, I have it. I will make it look like that. Okay, fine. I left. Now the florist left. I
Yeah.
come in. I'm like, let me just check the room before I bring the bride. You know I love my room reveals.
Of course, every
I can't breathe.
planner, every florist love to see this.
I walked in.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, oh my God, it looks exactly like how I left it. Now there's no time. I'm calling her, texting her. She's not picking up. This is not what we agreed to. We're dimming the lights. I'm crying to the maitre d' going, oh my God, do you think the bride's going to notice? Oh my God. My assistant that was with me, she goes, there's nothing that's going to fix this. She will notice. Dim the lights. The DJ that was on point that day, he was like, I'm going to put some really good mood music.
Yeah,
right?
I would too.
She walked in.
Uh-oh.
Immediately, she cried. It wasn't tears of joy.
No.
It was unhappiness. I've never had that. I didn't even know. I think I froze on the spot because I've never had it before. I was like,
kicked in the gut.
I got kicked in the gut. I froze where my coordinator saw that I froze and she kind of went into action and she was like, it's going to be okay to the girl. She forgot about me, but she was like, it's going to be okay. Listen, we're going to fix this. And then she goes, snap out of it. I can't do this on my own. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, let me go into action mode. So it went into lawsuits. It changed the way I do my contracts. The florist didn't take really that much accountability, but the bride blamed me for everything.
Yeah.
And I
That's
realized
tough.
it's the way my contracts were also worded. It wasn't specific.
Yeah.
And now it says, I will, if people know me, I will die for my brides. Like I will do, it's my reputation. I want it perfectly Instagrammable, whatever, right? So like I will do what it takes. But at the end of the day, these aren't my hands. The person that's putting it together, those aren't my hands.
Right.
Like when I work for Rima, for example, she goes, Barbara's wedding, she goes, Yasmin, I need you in here. And she goes, you and Rafa take over. Rafa's her lead person that puts everything together. And she's like,
I love Barbara.
yeah. So we love you, Barbara. Rima just stands back. She goes, nope. She goes, I don't know what you and Barbara talked about, and I'm not being involved. You and Rafa take over. So I'm like, okay, I need this change. And Rafa's like, here we go. Here we go. And Rima's like, just do it, Rafa. Just do it. We'll kill her later, but just do it. But that's why I love working with her, because she'll do it.
Yeah.
She's not getting offended. She's not like, oh, my work, how dare you, like
Right.
the other one did. And that's why I no longer work with the other one.
Yeah, there's definitely a few planners. I mean, a few florists that are like that, but it's also accountability. I guess that's today's industry or today's society.
Yeah.
No one wants to take accountability, which is terrible, but
It is what it is.
Something that we have to go by. All right. So as I want to wrap up here a little bit. Yes. Well,
You wrap up. It's your show, Jack.
I mean, I could
Does
keep,
everyone see what your T-shirt looks like?
yeah, my T-shirt.
Guys, he looks like he's
pretty
from
awesome.
1995.
I'm getting ready
Jack.
to DJ tonight.
Jack, don't go
It's-
showing up with those cassette tapes.
I have to tonight. I don't know if I'm doing old school
Is
stuff.
it bat
I'm just
mitzvah?
No, they weren't even born when this was like, they were born with like Justin Bieber. So, but no, if people need to find you, where's your tags? Where are you at? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on my website. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me through a lot of venues and vendors at this point.
All right. Okay. What are the
So-
tags?
I don't even know what that means. What do you mean?
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
I
then
mean, like what?
you guys could open up
Revel
a phone
Defense
book.
Design.
Open up a phone book
Oh my God, my
at the
stomach
nearest.
hurts. Wait, can you just tell everybody our conversation we had when I needed, like, remember I wanted you to make like a mix for me? Do you remember
A
that?
mixtape.
My stomach hurts.
Yeah, you wanted a mixtape. Oh my goodness, you're still something. I think you're still drunk.
I didn't know that you can't make like a mixed, like, I didn't really literally mean mixtape, by the way, Mr. I'm wearing mixtape shirt.
Yes.
Okay, I meant like, can you do it on like a USB or whatever people do it on?
A CD or something like that. You said you're something. I mean, I guess this is why I enjoy working with you because
Listen, I'm 41.
you
Leave me
put-
alone.
Good, because I'm 21.
You okay?
You put me back into normalcy mode. Normal mode. Other than that, Yaz, I love
Jack,
you so much. Thank
I
you
love
for
you.
Thank
you for
joining
having
us
me.
on
I
this
had fun.
podcast. This is
I
good.
had fun.
This is just the start of this whole behind the keys stuff. Aside, I'm bringing like my circle together, but at the
Oh my
same
God,
time,
this word circle.
listen, you got a circle. Well, your circle's crazy. Your circle's like 10 fucking DJs, 10 this,
Yeah,
that. Like, get out of
whatever.
here with that. That's
Okay.
That's a little insane. That's more like,
You remind me of the guy from Meet the Fockers. You're now outside of my circle. Remember the circle?
oh yeah.
You talked about the circle?
Listen, I like that theory.
Guys, every time he talks about the circle, I go, you know what? I'm going to throw you out of my circle. How about that?
I agree with that circle theory. I do not want to get anyone. I like my circle to be nice, tight.
My circle's tight too. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we have the same circle.
I hope.
Okay.
Not. All right. Well, thanks, guys. And
Thank you,
then
Jack.
I'm sure I'll be calling you again to join us because
Perfect.
we'll see what people.
I will
have
have
to say.
fun. It'll be
Yes.
another fun time.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. And
And out.
we are out.
That was fun.
Yes.
I really like this. Oh my God, can we take a selfie? This is fun. I really like this on my head.
You do?
It actually made me stop thinking about my life for about 4 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
There.
That was fun.
So if you ever want to do this yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you can. Where we just pull this down. You see?
What?
We pull this down
Yeah.
so it covers like this whole LJ DJs thing. So you
Oh,
can
fun.
really do
So I
your
can.
own thing.
Can I do it here?
Yes, this is why.
Noelle
we
wants to do
created this.
podcast. She's the one that does all this stuff for me.
This is why we do this here because